random kid in high school, doesn't actually think that there's any consequence for completely gaffing off school. And then he gets into the real world, and what ends up happening? He faces a huge dose of reality. It's that on a cosmic scale, bro. You're going through high school and thinking that you don't need to go to class, and then when you die, bro, final exam time, and then you're gonna wake up in your dream completely butt-ass naked and having to sit in class, and you're like, oh shit, what do I do? What do I do?
Point is it's still a threat.
That's like saying, well, the high school student that gaffed off the whole time, when he goes to take the final exams and he fails, oh man, that's such an evil thing to do. Why would you do that? No, you don't say that. You say, yeah, go get a GED, son. Go pick up a book. I'm hoping that regardless of whether or not you think that I'm a silly person for believing in Jesus, I would think that the contents of this conversation should speak for itself. I'm not telling you anything stupid or illogical. It might seem very hard to believe, but I'm using logic to back everything up. A lot of people live in this comfortable life like Cypher in the Matrix. Happiness could be a trick.
Ignorance is bliss.
If you're tricking me into being happy, I guess I'm okay with that.
Let me read you a poem real quick. I wrote this poem called Happiness versus Joy.
Happiness circumstantial, fleeting and insubstantial, but yet we chase the wind and deny that we have sinned. Happiness inconsequential, distraction monumental, but with money on our minds we fail to see we're blind. Joyful is a state of mind. Happiness has its time, but after life has had its grind, things start to fall in line.
All the other religions point to you having to do something, but Jesus is the only one that says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man comes to the Father except through me. His blood on the cross is what paid my entry fee. That's my Willy Wonka ticket, bro.
Come on. It's a golden ticket.
Listen, I'll buy it from you. I'll give you $50.
The fuck out my face!
And a new bicycle.
Are you crazy? I'd give him $500 for that ticket. You want to sell me your ticket for $500, young man?
Get the fuck out of here! That's enough of that. Leave the kid alone. Don't let anyone have it. Take it straight home. You understand?
Thank you.
If he were telling the truth, he wouldn't have told us.
Unless, of course, he knew you wouldn't believe the truth, even if he told us.
Because regardless of whether or not you believe it or not is irrelevant. It's gonna happen. It's just like a little child protesting to his father when he first loses his first baby tooth and his father tells him, well, you're gonna lose all of them. No, I'm not. I don't believe you. Okay, fine, son. Don't believe me. I mean, that's all it is, Jonathan. Don't believe me. But I'm telling you the truth. When we die, it's not just game over, go back to worm food. There's judgment. Just like an exam at the end of the semester, and just like you have to, please mute. And just like you have to take a final exam to certify yourself as a doctor, every step along the way in this journey that you've lived, it points to that. It points to a beginning, middle, and an end. But then, ironically, you unbelievers look at the end of your actual life and think, oh, well, there's nothing after that. I don't have to answer for any of the stuff that I just take to the grave with me. Oh, you will answer for everything you take to the grave with you, man. Just because you didn't get arrested, just because you didn't get shamed, just because people didn't see you doing all these horrible things, just because you didn't admit it to another person, hey bro, all that stuff is gonna be sitting right on your shoulders when you die. And just like Anton LaVey, oh no, something is wrong. Something is very wrong. Yeah, because the devil is a liar.
Why should I asked you why I should believe any of that, and you just told me what I should believe, not why I should believe. Like, it just sounds like you told me a story, but I don't think that story is true. So, like, why should I care what that story says about what happens after I die?
All right, fine. So, Jonathan, let me ask you this. If you were to suspend disbelief, and you take my words at face value, then what?
I'd be super scared. If everything that you said was true, I'd be super scared of burning in hell. But the same would be true about if I took a Muslim at face value, or a Hindu at face value, or, you know, any of 5,000 whatever other faiths that have heavens and hells at face value. Like, if I took any of them at face value, I'd be scared.
But the thing is, Jonathan, there's no reason to be scared. Gospel message is the good news. It's not bad news. It's good news.
Why is there a threat of punishment if you don't believe?
No, it's not a threat of punishment. It's just telling you the truth.
Have you ever heard this Bible verse? God disciplines those he loves. The Bible also calls it chastisement. But many times when people think of God's discipline, they think of God making something happen to someone. But no, it's different from that. See, when God disciplines these people, many times he simply removes his hand from them so that they can see how vulnerable, how weak, and how much they really need him. Because a lot of times we can become arrogant, prideful, people, and we can think that we're standing on our own 2 feet. But when God removes his hand from whoever it might be, then they can see how vulnerable they are, and they call out to him, and they realize how much they really need God in their life. See, like in the Old Testament, God's nation many times would separate from the Lord, worship false gods, and God would simply remove his hand from them, and then all the other enemy nations would come and capture them or defeat them, and then the people would see how much they needed God. They would call out to him, and God would deliver them and cover them once more. So I want to tell you something. If you feel you're going through God's discipline, don't be prideful, don't get hard-hearted. Call out to him. He'll cover you, and he'll raise you back up, and he'll set your feet on that solid ground. God bless you.
It's just like you going to high school and let's remove you. Let's say a kid, just a random kid in high school, doesn't actually think that there's any consequence for completely gaffing off school. And then he gets into the real world, and what ends up happening? He faces a huge dose of reality. It's that on a cosmic scale, bro. You're going through high school and thinking that you don't need to go to class. And then when you die, bro, final exam time, and then you're gonna wake up in your dream completely butt-ass naked and having to sit in class, and you're like, oh shit, what do I do? What do I do? Because that shit's gonna happen, bro. It's really gonna happen.
It's real. You might say it's real, which, I'm sure that's what you believe, but the point is it's still a threat. Saying like, it might be like a real threat, but it still is a threat.
That's like saying that your high school exams are a fucking threat. Just because that high school student...
They are.
Wait, stop, bro. Stop. Just mute up. That's like saying, well, the high school student that gaffed off the whole time, when he goes to take the final exams and he fails, oh man, that's such an evil thing to do. Why would you do that? No, you don't say that. You say, yeah, go get a GED, son. Go pick up a book.
I mean, look, like, if it wasn't a threat, there wouldn't be people screaming about fire and brimstone, right?
Hey, I don't like those people. Because, Jonathan, it's true. That shit is coming. It's happening sometime in the near future.
You're doing it, then.
What? No, man. No. I'm not standing on a corner with the megaphone freaking polluting the air with your yelling and telling everyone's going to be burned in hell if they don't repent. Yeah, that's true, but there's a different way to go about it. Like, kind of like what we're doing now. We're having a conversation. We're trying to reason with each other. I'm hoping that regardless of whether or not you think that I'm a silly person for believing in Jesus, I would think that the contents of this conversation should speak for itself. I'm not telling you anything stupid or illogical. It might seem very hard to believe, but I'm using logic to back everything up.
I mean, what I will say is that what you've said is consistent, but the question is whether the foundations are true. And like, if your position, if the point that you're trying to make is essentially, well, if I'm right, then things look really bad unless you accept Jesus. Well, sure, but if Muslims are right about Islam, then things look really bad unless you accept Muhammad as the last prophet, right?
That's not actually the case. Let me respond by what Jesus said. He said, what good is it to gain the whole world and yet forfeit your soul? People that love this world too much will lose sight of the fact that Jesus is God because they're so preoccupied by the matrix. Many people that eat shit in life and they start thinking, man, God, I need your help. If there is a God, please help me. But, when a lot of people live in this comfortable life like Cypher in the Matrix, happiness could be a trick.
Ignorance is bliss. I know this steak doesn't exist. I know that when I put it in my mouth, the Matrix is telling my brain that it is juicy and delicious. After 9 years, you know what I realize? Ignorance is bliss.
Happiness on this earth could be a trick.
I don't follow. I mean, if you're tricking me into being happy, I guess I'm okay with that.
No, it's not that. Man, I'm sorry. I've talked too abstractly. Hold on. Let me see if I can. Let me read you a poem real quick. I wrote this poem called Happiness versus Joy. And in the 4th stanza is where I say that. So if you could kindly mute, I'll read it to you.
Happiness circumstantial, fleeting and insubstantial, but yet we chase the wind and deny that we have sinned. Happiness inconsequential, distraction monumental, but with money on our minds we fail to see we're blind. Joyful is a state of mind. Happiness has its time, but after life has had its grind, things start to fall in line. Jesus came to heal the sick, not those happy with where they are. So happiness could be a trick if you don't believe his scars. What good it be to gain it all, only to forfeit your soul? Is Jesus why you stand so tall, or are you what makes you whole? Happiness circumstantial, fleeting and insubstantial, but find your joy in Christ. for he has always sufficed. Do you know the difference between happiness and joy? Happiness is dictated by your life circumstances, but joy is a state of mind, regardless of your current situation. Just like the wind, we chase things that we believe will make us happy. A beautiful wife, a cush job, a nice house, luxury cars, and everything else the world has to offer. But in the end, does any of it really bring you true joy? After the movie ends in happily ever after, don't you ever wonder what happens after ever after?
Joyful is a state of mind, but happiness has its time. But after life has had its grind, things start to fall in line. Do you understand what that means?
Honestly, no.
I'll read it again. Joyful is a state of mind. Happiness has its time. But after life has had its grind, things start to fall in line.
Yeah, you'll have to spell it out for me.
Oh, you got a PhD, man. Come on. I'll read it one more time slowly, okay? And see if you can just listen to it and try to break it down into 4 sections. It's just 4 lines. Joyful is a state of mind. Happiness has its time. But after life has had its grind, things start to fall in line.
So you're trying to tell me that things will line up after death?
No, man, that's not what I'm saying. Try one more time.
Why
Try one more.
Rather than reading it again, why don't you just explain it?
No, I want to make you really use your brain. I want you to use your brain juices. Try to focus on, let's just break it one at a time then. First statement, joyful is a state of mind.
Yes, that's obviously clear.
Okay.
It's the last 2 verses, or whatever they're called, it's throwing me off.
Okay, well, when I say happiness has its time, in contrast to joyful being a state of mind and happiness has its time, what does happiness has its time mean?
Oh, bro, if you were trying to contrast that, then the structure of the poem didn't really help, because like it seemed like you were kind of summarizing the previous sentence by saying happiness has its time. You're like, joyfulness is a state of mind and happiness is that state of mind having its time. That's how it sounded to me. But like, so the structure really didn't illustrate what we were trying to convey.
No, it's like having its time in the spotlight. So let me just mute up. I'll explain it to you. So in the very beginning, I said happiness circumstantial, fleeting, and insubstantial. Happiness is a circumstantial state of being. I'm happy because I got a kiss. I'm happy because I got a raise. These are all based off of circumstantial events. But having a joyful state of mind, regardless of good or bad, you're always joyful. Happiness has its time, because if someone gives you a pay cut, someone fires you, guess what? You're not happy anymore. So there is a stark difference between joy and happiness. But then it says, but after life has had its grind, things start to fall in line. Why? Because if you start living life a little, you start to see, hey, the grass isn't always greener on the other side. Not everybody loves me. Not everybody is on my side. Not everybody is out for my best interest. And these are things that you start learning along the way. But then there's people that isolate themselves and they'll never go out of their little well. Like the frog in the well, they just stay happy in their own little small frog, and they look up at the circle in the sky and think that that's all heaven. And they're completely happy with where they are.
So is happiness not the same thing as joy in your view? Because I'm pretty sure those are synonyms.
Correct, yes. Happiness and joy are 2 different things.
What's the difference?
You see, what's the difference between joy and happiness? Happiness may give smiles, put laughter on our face, but happiness is just what the word describes. Happiness depends on what happens. Therefore, you call it happiness. If your hap is good, then you're happy. If your hap is bad, then you're unhappy. It all depends upon happenstance and whatever happens. But joy depends upon the Lord. It is supernatural. It is not natural. Happiness is like a thermometer. It measures and registers conditions, but joy is like a thermostat. It controls conditions. And happiness evaporates in the time of suffering, but joy is often deepened in the time of suffering. Because we come to the Lord and we depend upon the Lord.
Like I said, joy is a state of mind. Happiness is circumstantial. Happiness is dictated by the external circumstances that you are experiencing.
I would say they're both states of mind. They're both mental states.
No, joy is a state of mind. When I am
happiness.
joyful,
So is happiness. Happiness is a mental state.
Happiness is circumstantial. Are you not understanding this?
Happiness is a mental state.
Yes, but it's circumstantial. It's going to be based off of external events. such as getting a raise, getting a kiss, having a friend call you.
I mean, like, happiness can be internally based. Like, if I decide one day that I want to look at things from a better outlook, I could be happy about that. Or joy can be externally based. I can be joyful because I got married, or whatever it might be, right? These are synonyms. Like,
Okay, all right,
if you look at a dictionary, it'll just say that they're synonyms.
Okay, all right, please. It's not like I'm oblivious to that, so please don't state the obvious with me. Happiness. I was going to say something. What was I going to say? Happiness. Damn it. I forgot what I was going to say, man. Anyways, continue on. I forgot. I'm sorry.
I don't really know how we got here, but I mean, the point is that, like, if what you say is true, then yeah, I would want to be a Christian. And if what a Muslim says is true, then yeah, I would want to be Muslim. And if what a Hindu says is true, yeah, I would want to be Hindu. So why should I, like, it seems like these are all equally unconvincing and all have equally strong consequences and equally strong upsides depending on who you're talking to. So, like, sell me on Christianity over, say, like, Zoroastrianism.
I thought I told you already, man. All the other religions point to you having to do something. But Jesus is the only one that says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man comes to the Father except through me. His blood on the cross is what paid my entry fee. That's my Willy Wonka ticket, bro.
The nerve of some people.
I know. Forging a ticket. Come on. It's a golden ticket. You found Wonka's last golden ticket in my shop too.
Listen, I'll buy it from you. I'll give you $50.
The fuck out my face.
And a new bicycle.
Are you crazy? I'd give him $500 for that ticket. You want to sell me your ticket for $500, young man?
Get the fuck out of here! That's enough of that. Leave the kid alone. Listen, don't let anyone have it. Take it straight home. You understand?
Thank you.
That Jesus died on that cross, and on the third day he rose again, bro. He rose again from the dead.
So are you just telling me that I should be a Christian because it's easier?
No, I'm not. No, it's definitely not easier.
If he were telling the truth, he wouldn't have told us.
Unless, of course, he knew you wouldn't believe the truth, even if he told us.